The new year had just started when something shocking happened. Outside the fancy Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas, an explosion shook the area, leaving chaos and heartbreak behind.
This was the shocking moment a Tesla Cybertruck exploded outside of Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas.
The cause? A Tesla Cybertruck, once a high-tech wonder, now just a pile of smoking wreckage. But this wasn't just a random accident. Inside the rented truck was a man, and his story would reveal a chilling mystery. It was a bright, chilly morning on the Las Vegas Strip, and the city was alive as usual. Tourists wandered in and out of casinos, and the day felt full of promise. But suddenly, a loud explosion shattered the calm. Smoke rose high into the sky, and chaos erupted. People nearby described hearing a massive boom and seeing a flash before panic set in. Emergency crews arrived quickly, but for one man it was too late. The driver, Alan Livelsberger, was already gone. Matthew's life was anything but ordinary. He had served honorably in the Army Special Forces, dedicating years to his country. But on this day, he was driving a Cybertruck packed with fuel canisters and firework mortars. Investigators later discovered that, before the explosion, Matthew had ended his own life. Why he chose to cause such destruction remains a mystery. As detectives dug deeper, they found more questions than answers. Who was Matthew beyond his military service? Those who knew him described him as a devoted soldier who had faced incredible stress during his career. But as the investigation continued, unsettling details came to light. The Cybertruck rented in Denver had traveled over 700 miles before reaching Las Vegas. Why this city? Why the Trump Hotel? These unanswered questions left investigators searching for clues, trying to make sense of it all. Federal agents, led by FBI's Spencer Evans, confirmed that Matthew acted alone. He had no help and no clear ties to extremist groups, but rumors of a bigger plot began to spread. Was this part of something larger, or was it the final act of someone battling their own demons? This wasn't the first tragedy like this. Just days earlier, a deadly car ramming in New Orleans killed 14 people and injured many more. The driver was shot by police, and there was no obvious link to Matthew. Still, the timing and brutality of both events raised a disturbing question. Could they be connected? President Joe Biden spoke to the nation, his tone calm but serious. He promised that investigators were looking into every angle. So far, there was no proof tying the two events together. Even so, the public's unease grew. The Cybertruck explosion felt like more than a single tragedy. It was a sign of something bigger, something unsettling, breaking through the surface of normal life. Dental records and DNA confirmed what everyone feared. Matthew Livelsberger was the driver. But the coroner's report added another layer of pain. The injuries showed he had ended his own life just moments before the explosion. It wasn't just a desperate cry for help, it was a final, heartbreaking plea for something no one could fully understand, but answers were nowhere to be found. There was no letter, no hidden message, nothing to explain why. Just a man who had spent his life serving others, ending it in a way that left everyone shocked and searching for meaning. For the injured victims, the witnesses who couldn't erase the memory of that terrible morning, and a country left reeling, the question of why hung in the air, heavier than the event itself. In the days that followed, theories began to swirl. Some thought Matthew might have been overwhelmed by the pressure of his job. Others wondered if he was carrying unseen wounds, the kind that don't leave physical scars, but still cut deep. But these were only guesses. The real story was buried with Matthew, leaving his family, friends, and even strangers to piece together fragments of a puzzle that might never be solved. Right now, the Trump Hotel explosion is still a mystery. Investigators are hard at work, looking closely at every piece of evidence, even the tiniest bits of the Cybertruck that used to stand there. People are left wondering, why would a man known for his discipline and honor do something so extreme? And will we ever fully understand what really happened that morning in Las Vegas? Witnesses say the moments after the explosion felt unreal. The Grand Hotel, with its shiny gold exterior glowing in the sunlight, was a sharp contrast to the chaos outside. Security cameras caught the exact moment the Cybertruck burst into flames, sending metal and smoke flying everywhere. Hotel staff and guests, shocked at first, quickly jumped in to help the injured and guide emergency crews. Among them was a family from Wisconsin. Their little girl held her dad's hand tightly, her big, frightened eyes showing the terror of what she had just seen. The emergency team worked hard to put out the fire and make sure no one else got hurt. The injuries were small, but they were a sharp reminder of how much worse things could have been. Once the danger was over, the emotional weight of the event started to hit. For those who were there, it wasn't just a news story. It was a moment they would never forget. As investigators looked into Matthew's life, they found a man who had spent his years protecting others. His time in the Army Special Forces showed he was a skilled leader, calm under pressure, and strong when it mattered most. But even strong people have limits. Friends talked about Matthew being quiet and always ready to help carry other people's troubles. Looking back, they couldn't help but wonder if he had been carrying too much for too long. Matthew's recent choices only deepened the mystery. Renting a Cybertruck, a bold and unusual vehicle, felt intentional, much like the man himself. Its sleek, futuristic look and tough build made it stand out, but it also became a tool of destruction. The addition of fuel canisters and firework mortars showed careful planning, making it clear this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment act. But what message was Matthew trying to send? This question weighed heavily on his fellow service members. In the tight-knit world of special forces, trust and shared sacrifice form unbreakable bonds. For those closest to Matthew, the news of his death was a crushing blow. Some struggled with guilt, asking themselves if they had missed signs of his pain. Others pointed to the stigma around mental health in the military, a wall that keeps many from seeking help when they need it most. The explosion brought back a big conversation about the struggles veterans and active duty soldiers face. PTSD, depression, and the hard adjustment to civilian life are common challenges. For some, the burden becomes too heavy. Advocates urged for better mental health support, reminding everyone that tragedies like Matthew's can be prevented with the right help and care. As people talked about these issues, the public's curiosity about the case only grew. A high-tech vehicle, a famous location, and a man devoted to service. Together, they created a mystery that no one could ignore. News channels played the footage over and over, breaking down the details and guessing at motives. But despite all the speculation, one thing was clear: the full truth might never be known. Matthew's family stayed away from the media, mourning in private. Their grief was mixed with unanswered questions. Was he trying to send a message? Was it a cry for help no one heard? Or was the pain simply too much to bear? In their silence, they carried the weight of a loss that had touched so many. The Las Vegas Strip, known for its bright lights and non-stop energy, felt quieter after the explosion. People passing the site in the days after saw the burned remains of the Cybertruck, a stark reminder of what had happened. Flowers and handwritten notes appeared, left by strangers moved by the story. One note, written in shaky handwriting, simply said, "May you find peace wherever you are." As time goes on, the memory of that morning will fade for some people, but for others, it will stay clear in their minds, a moment that changed how they see life, loss, and the mysteries around us. Matthew's story, though sad, is a strong reminder that even in dark times, we share a human need to understand and heal. Tragedies like this remind us how fragile life is and how complicated being human can be. They push us to look for answers, even when they seem out of reach. They also make us think about the struggles others might be going through. As the sun sets over the Strip and Las Vegas lights shine again, the memory of that explosion lingers, a mystery, a tragedy, and a call to understand.